Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to the Progressive. You already come to presentation 17. If at all you got through the first 16, you deserve a medal for listening to all my stuff. But never mind. I'll give you a party if I'm ever in your town. Okay, presentation number 17 is about teamwork, the Johari Window. What's the Johari Window? Find out. It's really nice. And what else have we got? Johari Window, integrity and reliability. See, teamwork is spoken of in many circles, taught, and there are seminars after seminars, yet companies kind of struggle to find good teamwork within their teams. Why? This will give you the tips of why and what you need to do personally for you to become a better team player. Go through this and see if you can find some tips that will work for you. It should work for you. This is not a theory exercise. You don't have to give exams in my YouTube channel. This is something for you to use every day at your workplace and become successful, become happy in your workplace. That's the whole idea. Go through this. If you don't understand something, leave comments. I will try my best to explain to you, okay? We can even do a Zoom call or whatever.
Now, once again, I shall get as pragmatic and as practical based on my experience and based on some of the knowledge and some stuff which I got off the internet and things that are useful. See, there are many things if you go and Google things on the internet which are useless. They are, from a practical point of view, they're just theories. They're just nice sounding words, but what works and what does not work is my focus. My focus is to get real about things, not be imaginary and use sweet words all the time. Call spade a spade whenever it needs to. What needs to be done to accomplish a certain thing. In this case, we are speaking about teamwork, so let's jump right into it. What is teamwork? Well, essentially it consists of these three bullets: respecting yourself and others, demonstrating reliability and integrity, and we shall speak a little bit about communication in teams, in meetings, discussions, conferences, because this is much misunderstood and much misused, and people are just being stupid and don't know how to be and behave. They're not aware of themselves much. All centers around your self-awareness, what's being told and what you're trying to accomplish. That's what it all comes down to. Yes, it always comes down to self. You have to first know yourself more and more. The degree to which you are individually, you who's got patience to come this far in the podcast, or Jared have directly jumped into this without seeing the others, it won't make much sense. But you have to see all of the podcasts before. That's why I kept these last two towards the end, teamwork and professionalism, is because you have to know all the rest. Okay, teamwork. Any organization would always require to be a team player. That is, work together in cooperation and collaboration. We spoke about cooperation and collaboration in the very beginning of the podcast series. Go through that first. No work is accomplished in singularity as a worker in any organization or institution for that matter. You will always require help or information and or data from your colleagues within the organization or institution. It applies to any institution really where humans are working together. Being a part of organization or institution is not about individual glory or accolades. Okay? There you are part of the collective. So you participate in the collective, yet being an individual. Nobody's asking you to lose your individuality, but how do you tie into that? That's where we come day to day, and we'll discuss here. Teamwork always requires you to consider that you're a link in the chain of events. Workplace, this translates to you receiving and giving to someone and passing a part of your result to some others in the next chain. Respecting yourself and others. We'll quickly go through this. You can pause and again see the bullets whenever you want to take notes, understand. And most of all, use it in your daily life. People don't use things. They just read and get rid of it saying it's bullshit or very sweet talk. Use it. These are practical experiences from me, from over 35 years of experience. Okay? You'll cut yourself a lot of pain. Self-respect comes from a good self-image. I mean, once again, I'm making an app called Self-Image, and you can download it in Android, your tablet, and your PCs or Mac. And then you can use that to know what's your self-image. A good self-image comes from inside of a person, not from comparison with others, but by knowing who you are, what you are all about, nature, patterns, likes, dislikes, preferences, etc. It's long ones. Human being is very complex. One feels good about oneself with all the good, bad, strengths, weaknesses, as you are right now. Only when you accept everything as you are in the present, then you're truly in a position to be free, to move towards where you want to go, your aspirations, desires. Only those people with a low self-esteem compare themselves to another. Remember this always. If you find yourself comparing and putting yourself down because somebody else is doing something else, it's always they are just doing something else. Nothing is high or low. Always low self-esteem leads to pride and arrogance on the outside. People try to put barriers, defense, arguments, debates, and arrogance and pride. Why does this come? We have low self-esteem, not high one. High self-esteem, in fact, becomes very vulnerable. It is very open. We have nothing to hide. While always feeling insecure and vulnerable on the inside. A healthy self-respect leads to good self-confidence, contentment on the inside. You don't need things or materials or people or relationships to be who you are, and being friendly and cooperative on the outside. A healthy self-respect also gives you the inner freedom to respect others also. Accept them for their pluses and minuses, their shortcomings, their strengths. You only learn to give to others what you have, even in a quality like self-respect. If you have good self-respect, you will appreciate the other person's self-respect. Otherwise, you'll think they are arrogant, when in fact they have a good self-worth. When we have a healthy self-respect, we have little need to win as an individual. You become more part of the collective. Your sense of self expands to fill the collective. And that's the position you have to be in. To be not a good performer. That's a very mean thing to say. Nobody's here to become a good performer. You're not on some stage. As an actor, you're an individual. You're a being. Good healthy self-respect allows us to welcome differences of opinion as a means of getting the best solution, best outcomes, rather than avoiding them as a precursor of unpleasant conflict. Team members who have self-respect and respect others can operate with clarity. This is what most of us humans seek. There is chaos, there is confusion. Accept it. It's always there in life and everything, personal and professional. But you are seeking clarity. And by clarity, there comes expansion and knowing. By being honest without expectation of emotional response. So here we'll discuss one concept called the Johari Window. Now, the Johari Window, you can Google this also. Then you will get the chart like this. So it goes by 4. It's a grid of 4 squares. And 1 is open area, number 1. Number 2 is blind area on the left, on the right. 3 is hidden area on the bottom left. And 4 is unknown area. Now this Johari window plays a crucial role, if you want to understand this, in teamwork, and we'll see why. Teams work best together when individuals trust each other, and building trust can be difficult. The Johari window model is a tool that you and another party can use to share information about yourselves and others to build stronger and more trusting relationships. So trust is the key there. The model is a simple square broken up into 4 quadrants. The upper left quadrant, open area, represents the information about yourself that you and the other party knows. That's the open area, what you and the other one knows. The upper right quadrant, the blind area, represents the information you don't know about yourself that the others might know. The lower left quadrant, the hidden area, number 3, represents the information you know but the other party does not. And the last quadrant, lower right side of the square, the unknown area, represents the information that neither you nor the other person in your team knows. Right? So what's the goal here? The goal is to maximize your communication potential. So you want the open area to be as big as possible within your team. Because the team is one and other members, it requires all of them. You as a team leader, if you are listening to this, you might want to reflect very deeply on this research, maybe more from the internet. So you want an open area to be as big as possible without disclosing information that's too personal. By moving perpendicular dividing line to the right and horizontal dividing line down, right? So this is how the information sharing goes. If you go from open area to the brand area, you can bridge that by giving feedback. This is how you increase the open area. If you want to increase diagonally, you have something called a shared discovery. So you both discover something. So that increases diagonally the square across. That is, the unknown area goes off, where the other person and you in the team discovered together. That's shared discovery. If you want to expand the open area downward, so you have self-disclosure, right? Self-disclosure as in you say what you have already known. You openly share the information that you have with another person. So that expands the square downwards. If you want to go expand the circle from number 3 to number 4, it's about self-discovery. And we'll see how this goes, yes? Teamwork using the Johari window is a tool meant to be used as often as possible to build trust and relationships between members working in a team. Team functions most effectively when information contained in the open quadrant is maximized. In every case, the objective is to maximize the first quadrant, that is, known to you and known to others. The premise here is that more transparency you have with your teammates and vice versa, the more ease and possibilities you have working as a team, and vice versa. It becomes a reality, not just theory. None of this is theory, it can be practiced, okay? I'm always against theories which are just sweet words. Be practical. Okay, number 1, self-disclosure. Sharing information about yourself or what you have regarding the work with others. This is you being cooperative with others. Self-discovery. The more you engage in researching information regarding your work, awareness of yourself, others, the more you expand your known area and reduce your unknown area. Shared discovery. If what you know and what your team knows is shared, as well as many new areas of subjective objective knowledge is explored, this leads to simultaneous growth and powerful teamwork. Feedback. We have blind spots, all of us, you also. Doesn't matter what you think of yourself or if you're even a CEO, I couldn't care less. You have blind spots, be it knowledge or your own behavior or personality. Things we cannot see or things we do not understand, as well our colleagues do. Sharing this with the object of caring and mutual respect is what others' constructive feedback is all about. So, respecting self and others. Let's examine the crucial aspect when building teams and how good self-respect in you is there. Know yourself first and take on the roles which within a team which is suitable for you. This again comes down to knowing yourself, the self-image personality app that I'm building. So, this also ties in with knowing oneself in terms of subconscious patterns of thinking and action. Unless you're comfortable with operating in a way that suits you, you should make it clear to the team leader that you like a different role. Otherwise, you'll be pushing out of your comfort zone, and nobody works well out of their comfort zone unless they have grown internally first. People talk about come out of your comfort zone. No, nobody likes it, not even you who are preaching such ideas. What it means is, comfort out of your comfort zone is stepping out of your box, but first you have to know what your box is. And you have to assimilate it internally first, and then your awareness and consciousness will expand, and then you step outside, and then that becomes your comfort zone. So you move from one comfort zone to the next comfort zone. Discuss more than argue. A discussion is a two-way allowance of open-minded attitude where one is comfortable to listen different points of view and discuss merits and demerits of the same. Okay? So an argument is a debate where one is trying to impress the other with their own ideas and beliefs. And this becomes an ego battle. Right? You all know this. Listen more than just hear. People just hear words and sentences. Are you really listening to the other person on what's being said? Remember the subconscious patterns. Are you listening to preferences, references, action, orientation, etc., etc.? There's so many things you can listen for. Listen to understand and not to respond. Many people listen to formulate a response back to them, and in the process missing out the information they're trying to convey, be it their emotional state even. So teamwork. Okay, next one. Accept chaos and confusion and use creativity to create clarity. More often than not, expect uncertainties, chaos and confusion. This happens all the time. This is more common than not. Nobody will tell you this, but every day is a chaos. This is a normal workplace anyway. The trick here is to expect it, use your innate creativity, and to break through any and all of these to come to your own clarity. Clarity is what creates path for work. Confusion and chaos just freezes up your work. Remember that. Experience. Making mistakes and learning what works and what doesn't is what experience is. Companies expect perfect work all the time and experienced people, but what does this really mean? The more experienced people only know more than you by making more number of mistakes in their career. So if your boss or your leader talks more about the mistakes they made, they are sharing valuable experience with you. Listen to them. A person with sound self-image will understand and learn from their mistakes, even share their mistakes and move on. A person with low self-image will indulge in self-blame, blaming too much, blaming yourself, blaming others, blame this, criticism. Avoid such kind of crap or such kind of crappy people. So we come to, you can take these points as points to ponder. I won't go through this because we got a lot more to cover in this. It's more of the things you can keep. Demonstrating reliability and integrity. What is that about? Working in a team is about demonstrating your qualities. That is showing what your capabilities are and how they come out of you in talent, abilities, knowledge, skill, and qualities. To get cooperation and collaboration, as well as give it from your side, requires demonstration. Not just talking about it, but learning the ABCs of it. Demonstration, action is required. Reliability. Reliability is the ability of a person or the system to perform and maintain its functions in routine circumstances, as well as hostile or unexpected circumstances. One has to build one's own reliability over a period of time. That's what gives the experience. How much are you reliable? And how much people trust and depend on you as a result? Do you say something and not do it? Determines the success at work. Being a reliable person at work requires you to be consistent in your core job skills. Be very good up to date with the latest skills and knowledge. And be cooperative and collaborative person. Don't be a prick. Integrity. Being integral, consistency between one's actions, values, methods, measures, and principles. You become consistent. You come from a unique social set of background, personal, social, cultural. All of these make you a unique person who comes into an organization to work in a certain capacity. Now, the organization demands certain ethics, values, work along with others. Having integrity is an important factor how you feel about your job. This is individual. How you serve in your job and what you decide to do and what not to do. So be true to yourself. If you're true to yourself, you can be true even to the company. Say what you want. Integrity demands that you select the right, appropriate action, be it at work or there are always a number of choices to take shortcuts, hide or be deceptive, or cheat or lie at work. Being integral is not doing any of those, but rather deliberately choosing and honestly. Transparency and reliability for yourself, irrespective of what your colleagues may be engaged around you. There are lots of breaks you will encounter, right? You don't want to be one of them. If you're both reliable and a person of integrity, you become a preferred choice for working in a team. You're trustworthy, you're transparent, you're easier to work with having these qualities. When people around you do not have to guess what you're up to or what you would do at any given time, they trust you. And trust is the core of working in a team. Your teammates must trust you 100%. And you must trust them 100%. So it goes both ways like everything else. Your reliability and integrity give your colleagues assurance of a good work. Okay? Another person who says one thing and never means it, or never is doing it, or means something else, has hidden agendas, and is not transparent, will often not fit in an assignment which requires teamwork. You're better off working alone then. Communicating in teams and discussions. Okay, now we come to the next one. Bullets. Discussions are informal way of meeting one another or colleagues in a team. Usually brainstorm ideas, discuss ways of accomplishing part of task. Discussions within team should be encouraged as it encourages communication. This means people get to know one another. You can't expect teamwork putting a whole bunch of strangers and one person doesn't know the other person. Encourage this, Mr. Boss, Mr. Manager. Discussions usually do not need preparation like meetings or conferences, but for a better discussion, it's better to make a mental note, jot down points you would like to discuss. To the extent possible, try and have a face-to-face discussion in person. These days, companies recognize they have plenty of small meeting rooms for this. These days, now it's a day of online meetings, Google Meet, Zoom, MS Teams, etc. So have informal meetings. Get to know what their routine is. Become personal with people, face to face. Remember, discussions are only for mutual exchange of data or clarifications. Never make discussion formal or take it down, like minutes of meeting. This is one mistake I've seen people commonly make. Everything has to be minuted. You told me this at such and such a time. I'll minute it. Dude, I'm just being informal. Communicating in... Okay, further. Focusing on outcomes. Discussion will be focused on outcomes. What you need out of meeting a person. From whom do you need what and for what purpose? Learn to convey your need properly. Become transparent with your job description with your team. Help them understand what you need and why you need something. Focus on time schedules. How much time do you need it within? Always remember to have everything. Everything is not urgent. Everything doesn't happen instantly. It's typical in the Arab world. Everything is urgent. Everything is super instantaneous. Arabs have no patience in this. I've seen in all my experience. So, get patient with things. It takes time. For as much as you would take time for doing your stuff, other person also takes time. Remember, a mature discussion is one where you do not need to escalate the matter to a supervisor or a boss. One way where you can mutually sort out. Don't go running to your boss for every single thing. It's childish. It's like a child running to the parent. Stop this kind of behavior. Now let's speak about communicating in meetings. This is a heavy topic. So many meetings I have attended throughout my career, and most of them do not follow some simple rules. I'm listing them here from my practical experience and from sources of knowledge gathered from the internet. Okay, here we go. Meetings are a formal way of getting together 3 or more colleagues within a team. 2 doesn't require a meeting. It's just you're meeting, but you're just one-on-one. It's not a group. Okay, broadly, there are 4 varied types of meetings. Kick-off meetings in the beginning. This is my personal experience with corporate world in oil and gas that I have spent. But depending on your organization, you might have different kind of meetings, okay? The idea is not to get too hung up on what kind of meetings there are. Some people are too anal about such things. Don't get anal. We're just talking here about what the general rules are, general decorum is for a meeting, right? Then there's status update, there's the information sharing, training, product knowledge, technology update, etc. Then there's interface meeting, client, contractor, vendor, etc. So what are the kickoff meetings? Kickoff meetings are those which are normally held the very first meeting of a project start. This is typically in engineering design or engineering consultancy or any consulting organization. This involves top management of all selected team members or task force and the lead personnel of different disciplines of a project. Holding a kickoff meeting signifies official start, as well as official assignment of team to the project, introduction of team members to one another. Purpose of kickoff meeting is to introduce team members. During a kickoff meeting, project managers, as well as planners, projects and control, maybe even procurement, or depending upon types of contract. Okay, project execution strategies are discussed, overview is discussed, various options for executing a project are discussed. You can note these, pull us down. Also discussed are salient points from various leads or various sections. Let's say you have had lessons learned from some other project and you want to say, we did this in this project, but we don't want to make those mistakes again because we had such and such an experience. So we share that. It can be sometimes kickoff meeting or KOM can be split into internal and external KOMs. You may have an internal kickoff meeting between your project team leads, and you may have an external one with the client team leads. So it depends. The typical agenda, they should have an agenda. Project manager, take note. Kickoff meeting has the following, should have at least on its agenda: introduction of team members, client and client background, project outline and scope, approach and execution strategy, roles and responsibilities, project deadlines, overall schedule, any client-specific information that will affect the project, and Q&A with the team members. It's driven by management, so management should take more note of this than anybody else. Okay, and you should lead your team. Status update meetings. Status update meetings are those which are normally held periodically, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, etc., depending on the nature of the project and time schedules. Purpose of status update is to review the current status, where we are in terms of time, schedule, cost, planned progress, actual progress, etc. During a status update, project managers usually share critical information about the project. Not everything needs to be shared at every status update. It's just where you are and some critical points which you need to take note to move forward. Most of the time, the issues addressed in this meeting are of regular nature. Problems that issues typically arise, action items, pending points, hold points, what information you need, what are showstoppers of the project, etc. Status update typical agenda should be like this: overall project status, project current timeline and schedule, execution strategy and delivery status, individual team members updates and issues by disciplines. Basically, team members I mean by discipline. Client inputs and feedback status. Okay. Information sharing meetings. Information sharing meetings are those and should be held on a need-to-know basis for a specific reason, for training, internal, extra, product update for sales and marketing, technology, training for those in such a line. There's no fixed time schedule for such things. It needs to be decided by management. All types of training are information sharing meetings, where personnel are given knowledge of the product workings, features, highlights, differences with the earlier product revision, etc. Training information sharing meetings are not held within organization, as they should be educational trainings typically considered an overhead. They should be done more. In my experience, I've seen very few people have good training or a good sound overall knowledge, or even the trainers have very lousy knowledge of in-depth knowledge of a product or something. Everybody just trying to sell something without knowing what they are selling. In a business world, typically everyone is trying to sell everything. But first you should need to know yourself and know your product first, okay? Information sharing meetings should be like this. Okay? Purpose of the meeting: introduction and background, product or services in case of training, new information in case of information sharing, implications and applications. What are the implications of this information? How does it affect the product, or how does it affect the project? Q&A. Interface meetings. We talk about next interface. Why am I talking about all these meetings when it comes to teamwork? This affects the teamwork very, very heavily. Very heavily. So you better take note of all of this very, very carefully. The team leaders, the managers, more of them, they should focus on this particular module. Of course, after listening to all the previous modules, please pay close attention, please take notes, okay? Especially if you're a younger yuppie manager, you need to take notes of these things. It will help you pull your teamwork together. Interface meetings are those normally held on a need to understand, resolve, clarify, okay? Interface meetings are usually held at either in one of the participants' offices. It involves the project team, a management, or both, or the other party. If the interface meetings are held with a client, usually product scope of services, contractual issues are discussed, points agreed upon. If they're with a contractor, usually project update schedules and whatever the critical technical design issues which are pending. Interface meetings are held all through the duration of the project, are very common, although interface meetings are held very shoddy. So this is a good idea to take notes who are holding interface meetings. Typically, I have seen in a practical life, interface meetings drag on and on and on and endlessly, and nothing is solved quickly enough. Typical agenda should be like this: purpose of the meeting, client, contractor, vendor, points of discussion, interactive Q&A, path forwards. This path forwards is important. When you don't have a path forward, they have action lists, but they don't have a path forward. So points to ponder about meetings are always formal, even if it's with known team members. Therefore, always come with written notes and an agenda. Meetings are about gaining path forward, like I said, not backwards. Avoid restating history of failures to agree in the past. Have an attitude of how you can move forward. I've seen this is a more common mistake than not. People always keep going back to history. This person told me this but didn't do this. Meetings are always in a group of more than 3. So the important tool is to listen. See the other podcast of listening, communication. Meetings are always about something, as you see above. Therefore, you are always a participant. Always demand a meeting agenda from the management at least a day before meeting so you can prepare. Yes. Even the managers don't prepare. Most of the times they don't even have a bloody agenda. Meeting should be had with a decorum. Mobile phone switched off or in flight mode. Complete focus on who is speaking. Don't keep checking your phones. You're not important even if you're a prime minister of a country. Get over yourself and your ego. One person at a time is crucial always to listen to abide by. Raise your hand if you need to address something or make note of something. Meetings need at least an hour's worth of preparation from your side. So before meeting starts, so make it your personal rule that you have at least an hour's time to prepare for whatever meeting you're about to go into. Communicating in teams in conferences. Conferences are very large meeting with more than 20 to 40 people are grouped together in a single venue. A conference may be held in large conference room or in hotels or in ballrooms. Conference is as formal as a meeting, but larger group of people. The conference is about general as well as specific discussion around a topic, maybe company's performance, annual, quarterly, etc. The scale of a conference can be varied. So, these days to hold a conference in a hotel ballroom is common. And they even hold large workshops, trainings, seminars, etc. in workshop. This whole podcast series is an online seminar, which is easier for reaching to lots of people and for people to take notes. That's why I have made it in the first place. A symposium is a casual gathering, including refreshment and entertaining. Seminar is organized to discuss a particular topic. They are usually educational in nature. A workshop is more of a hands-on experience for participants, like critical thinking we spoke of. That's a workshop. Communicating in video conferences. This is more common today with all the tools of internet we have. Google Meet, Zoom, Skype Business or MS Teams. These are all online video conferences. Again, if you keep all the rules of normal meetings and take it to video conference, you'll also be very well organized. Take these notes. These are useful for you to follow. More common than these days is video conference. Okay, you can be in multiple locations across countries or boundary lines on internet. Video conference typically have 2 or more groups of people at either end of the conference. Video conference are typically planned well in advance. These days they do it at 5-minute notice, but yeah. So keep all these notes. I've gone through quite quickly in all of this. Tried to maintain it, even though it's landed up to 30 minutes now, totally. But this is for you to pause and think about and take care of in all your meetings. Okay? Be very professional at this. This helps in teamwork. Think about this.